Hey, it's Whitney from EcoVeganGal.com and welcome back to the Uncensored channel. I screwed up on the name there, the Eco Vegan Gal Uncensored channel. I'm so used to giving a very similar introduction for the What a Vegan Eats channel. It's pretty much the introduction I use in all my channels, and considering that I'm running 4 right now, it's easy to get them confused. But welcome to this channel where I share my thoughts, feelings, and opinions on things not necessarily related to veganism. And this is going to be a video about kind of some business stuff, a little update on things I'm working on. I actually have another like 2 or maybe even 3 videos that I want to do for you, but I want to make sure I get this up on time and stay on my Sunday schedule. And I would like to do some bonus content for you, but frankly, I don't know if that'll happen. So I don't want to make any promises I can't keep because I'm working on some really big projects that are taking up so much time. And yet I just spent a really long amount of time doing something I didn't really need to do. Do you do that too? Where you're like, wow, I'm so busy, I don't have time for anything. And then suddenly you get down the rabbit hole of something that you just don't really need to do, but you just want to do it, so you do it. I'm sure you can relate. And also, I was gonna tidy up my bed, but then I realized, like this channel's uncensored. This is me being myself. And I had a big realization this past week about how important it is to just be authentic. And that is a huge, huge part of my brand, is that authenticity, especially on this channel and the What a Vegan Eats channel. I just want to show myself. So right now my bed's not made. Right now it's 5 a.m. and I'm working away. So that's where I'm at. So what I'm working on right now, like actually right now is a project called Real Influencer. And Real Influencer is like a big brand that it's developing into that. So, it's kind of a side project, but I feel like it's almost more of like a parallel project to Eco Vegan Gal. And I'm doing it with Kobe Kim from Vegetorials. And we did our first online course last year called the 4-Week Vegan YouTube Plan. And it went so well. We love doing it so much. And we just kind of had this momentum of all these ideas coming up and just passion for business and helping other content creators specifically. So Real Influencer is just launching in 2 different ways. So one, we have a podcast. We're doing a podcast every week on Wednesdays. I'll link to this down below, or you can just go to realinfluencer.com, and real is spelled REEL. And that has been so much fun. Oh, it makes me feel so good to be doing this project. I didn't expect to have so much joy from doing a podcast. I knew that I would like it. I knew I wanted to do it, and I've been thinking about doing a podcast for a few months now. But I guess it was just kind of a feeling that I just didn't really fully expect. So it's actually one of 3 podcasts that I want to do. I have 2 others, and this was a great opportunity because we had kind of a time frame, so I had to force myself into it. I often have a lot of projects. I pretty much always have a lot of projects in my head, and I'm always taking notes and doing all these different things, and a lot of them just keep getting pushed back and back and back. But this was great because I had a deadline, so it's really helpful when I have a deadline. That's basically the only time I get things done. So the podcast launched. We have 3 episodes up as of this recording. We're going to be recording the 4th one either today or maybe Monday. I'm not sure. And I've been editing them and posting them, and it's just like, yes, it feels so good. And we're getting such a great response to it. So if you have interest in content creation like blogging or YouTube or social media, and you want to learn how to monetize it and make it your full-time career, that's what that whole podcast is for. It's free business information. And it's rare these days that I give away free business tips. For so long, people kept asking, hey, Whitney, how do you do what you do? How do you do your blog full-time? Or I really do not consider what I do blogging at all. That's a whole nother story. But people always want to put me in that blogger box. So I get that question so regularly. And last year I decided that I was going to stop doing most free pick my brain sessions. And then I actually launched a consulting service called Pick My Brain, because that's what everybody wanted to do. But now I charge for it. And the podcast is just a way for me to give out that free content for people who aren't interested in investing their money quite yet. So it's very rewarding in that sense. Now, the other big project that I'm doing as part of Real Influencer is called the Sponsorship Strategy System. And again, that's with Kobe. And it's such an interesting path. And I love doing online courses because it's the connection. So that brings me to why I'm up at 5 a.m. and why I feel like I fell down the rabbit hole. I could probably look this up, actually. I just cannot believe how much time I spent on this. 8 hours. Holy cow. I can't believe I spent 8 hours doing this. So it goes to show how much time it takes to do certain things. So I'm not going to get into all the details of what I was doing, but I'm just sharing an update. A huge part of what I was doing and why I was actually inspired. So now I'm getting to the point of this specific video. Thank you for watching the lead up there. I really don't know sometimes if you enjoy it. I know some people do, but some people just want to get to the point right away. Some people want the backstory. Just let me know in a comment what you prefer, because I don't want to waste your time. What I'm finally getting to is I spent the past 8 hours researching all these people who signed up for this free video training series that Kobe and I are offering called the Sponsorship Strategy System. And unfortunately, if you're watching right now, it's closed, but you can sign up for when we offer it again in the future. I really wanted to get a good idea of who these people were that signed up and what their activity was like, and also just how I can help them. A huge pain point I've noticed for a lot of people is Facebook, and Facebook is my biggest online network right now. I have over 100,000 people following me on there. I have a very strong engagement. It's something I feel really proud of and I work really hard at. And it's rare that I see other people who are doing well on Facebook. Most pages get 10 likes or under. And every once in a while, I'll see maybe people rising up a little bit more, but like there's always something kind of off. Not always, but frequently there's something off where the engagement will be really high, but they won't have a lot of followers, or they'll have a lot of followers or fans or likes, whatever you want to call them, but the actual engagement on their posts isn't that high. So I love spending time just figuring out all this stuff, right? I mean, that's why I just spent 9 hours like researching stuff. And so I was taking the time to go through and look at all of these other content creators' work. And I started to notice a lot of things that I think that all of us can learn from, even if you're not a content creator yourself. This is such an important message. And it comes back to a video I recorded, I think maybe 2 months ago now, where how easy it is to win at something because not that many people try. And I feel like I need to develop something, a training around this specifically. This content and also confidence are the two things that I find most people lacking. Again, whether they're content creators or they're not, they're often lacking these two things where they feel like they're not good enough or they just don't value themselves. And I think ultimately that leads to people not trying, not putting the effort in. What I found really interesting is we had a really good number of people sign up for the mailing list and basically to get into the system so they could watch this free training we are offering. First of all, backing up a little bit more, I was kind of surprised that it wasn't higher than that. And I was also very surprised that specific people didn't sign up. I mean, people ask me about sponsorships all the time. That's the most frequently asked question that I get around business, which is exactly why I created this training. And yet some of those people that asked me that did not sign up for it. So I thought, is it that you don't really want it that badly, or it's too much of an effort to get free content, like to invest an hour into watching all these free tips? Would they rather just, I don't know. I just thought that was very perplexing, or people just aren't paying attention perhaps, because I felt like I was just overly promoting it. I mean, if you don't know about it, maybe I wasn't doing a good enough job, but I bet a good chunk of you would know about it if you follow me on my other social media platforms. And even the main Eco Vegan Gal channel, I made a whole video about the work that I'm doing right now. But I'm actually curious if you could tell me a comment too, if you don't know about any of that. And I am always just fascinated with how people consume information. Maybe you just come to this channel, you don't pay attention to anything else that I do. That would make sense. But I'm just so fascinated by social media and how to reach people and why people will take action and all that. So that's what I've been studying. I went through and I looked at, I think, about 150 people and evaluated all sorts of different aspects of them. And it takes a long time to do all of that. So not all of them had their website. In fact, actually, the majority of them did not have their website in any sort of the information that I could find. So I found it really interesting that a lot of these people want to get sponsored, and yet, number one, I can't even find their website. Like, how do they expect to get paid money if their website is not obvious? So a huge mistake I see people making, and here comes some bonus business tools for all of you who care about this stuff, is, if you're going to want to take yourself seriously, the name of your brand should be in your email address. So for me, before I wanted to invest money, I had ecovegangal@gmail.com, which I haven't checked in the longest time. I don't know if I still get emails there, so don't bother. And once I felt comfortable investing money, it actually didn't cost me that much to get the domain name and then use the email address. And in fact, it was free as part of my domain to have Whitney@ecovegangal.com, which is my email address. And that just took me to a level, so no matter who I was emailing with, they knew what my web address was. And I'm shocked at how few people do that. It's like, to me, business 101. So I start to wonder, how seriously does somebody take themselves if they don't even make that little step there? Or are they just not thinking about it? I'm not quite sure. So I couldn't find a lot of their website addresses. And some of them I actually spent a little time sleuthing. Like I would, Google their full name, and sometimes that would pull things up. But if they have like an average name like Jane Smith, obviously it's going to be harder than someone that has a unique name like Whitney Lauritsen. If you just Google my name, you'll find all sorts of information about me. So that was one thing that I thought, okay. Next from there, I started evaluating their social media, which is really where I got down this path. And I was looking at their different social media channels, and I really wasn't surprised by too much. I think that a lot of people really struggle with social media. And I think for me, I was just determined to figure it out. And I've been on social media since 2008, I think was when I joined. And I just really wanted to do well on social media. So I've spent a lot of time researching it. But here's the thing, is that a lot of people say that they want to do well at something, but they don't put in the effort. And so that's why this is so interesting to me, is because to me, you're signaling to somebody that you want something, right? So when you sign up for free training that I'm offering, you're saying, oh, I'm interested in that. Let me sign up. Oh, it's free? Cool. There's no risk involved here, right? They enter in their information. So that's a cue right there, because as I mentioned, there are plenty of people that didn't sign up for it, even though I knew that they could use it, right? So that's, you kind of go from this big group, and then you go into another group a little bit smaller, or actually significantly smaller there. And then you take that group, and it really severely narrows down once you realize these people don't even have their websites readily up. In fact, even people whose websites I could find, a lot of them were under construction. A lot of them were barely built up. They were super minimal, right? It was so few people who had just a blog. And then of the blogs, a lot of the blogs were really, kind of not well designed. And I get that. I think designing a blog takes a lot of time and energy and all that. But again, if you want to get sponsored, why would you not put effort into making your website. So I'm really curious around the psychology of that is what is holding people back? Why aren't they putting in that effort? They say they want this, but they're not willing to do the work to get to it. And I think that is like such a common thing. It's true with health. It's true with our weight, our appearances. People say, I want to lose weight. I want to be skinny. I want to be in great shape. And they just won't do the work. And I fall prey to that too, of course. I think we all do to some extent in some aspect of our lives or not. But a great little side example there is right now, I got super inspired about a week ago by some yogis I was following on Instagram, and I was watching them do just like these amazing things with their bodies, and they had so much strength, and I'm really fascinated by handstands. So I practice yoga usually 5 days a week. I would actually love to do 7, but it's a little too much for me right now. And I try, whether or not I go to my yoga class, I do at least one handstand a day. And to me, even that's not quite enough, because these people that are doing these incredible things with their bodies, they're probably practicing at least an hour every single day, but probably several hours. And that's how they get there. So for me, I'm kind of somewhere in the middle here. But most people say, oh, wow, that looks really cool. I wish I could do that. But they don't put any effort in. Or they're like, oh, I wish I could do that. I'll go to yoga and I'll do a really basic level class once a week or once a month. And they fall off the bandwagon, and then they wonder why they don't reach that goal. It's the same thing with these people. I'm generalizing here, of course, but from my perspective, people that say, I really want to get sponsored. I want to make money. I want this to be my career, but I'm just going to throw up a little blog and I'm not going to update it very often. And I'm not going to even make it easy for people to find me on social media. And if they can find me on social media, I'm just going to put up a few posts. And then they complain that they don't make any money. They don't get any followers. And it's like, there's a reason behind that. And I guess it's just that overall message is so many people complain about things, but they don't take the action to make it happen. But for me, the hardest part of all of that is when people like myself are there to help. I am giving free training. I've got a free podcast. I did a free video training. I've got all these resources. And the worst part of it all is that amongst all those people that signed up for the free training, there was a massive chunk of people who didn't even click on the link to check it out. They would open up the emails. Some of them actually didn't open up the emails at all, but majority of people opened the email, and then actually it wasn't a majority. I think it was an average of 50% opened emails, right? So 50% of those people signed up, but wouldn't even open their emails. And then 50% of them opened it up, but I think our average was 20% clicked through. So 20% of people actually clicked. And that's actually kind of a lot for mailing lists. Mailing list click-through rates can be as low as 2% or 5% or something. 20% is quite high. And that blows my mind too, of just how many people just don't take action. Why would you bother signing up for a newsletter list if you didn't even want to take action on that? And it's like the people that sign up for the gym and they never go. Or the people that, well, I could go on a whole rant about all of that even further than where I am now. But my point is it's so important for us to step back. And my huge goal in every single YouTube channel I have and across the board and everything I do is to help people and inspire people like you to take action. What are you doing in your life that you're not putting your all into? And my feeling is, why would you even bother doing it at all if you're not putting your all into it? Why would you sign up for a newsletter list? Just unsubscribe. That's what I do. If I subscribe for a newsletter list out of curiosity, which I do all the time, I unsubscribe if I lose interest, right? Because, well, I'm not going to get into the newsletters. I'm very tempted to keep going with this business side of things, but that's for my other channel and the podcast. Why would you open up an email and not click on anything, but open continuous emails. Like that's also an interesting pattern I've seen is it's not like somebody opened up an email and said, this isn't for me, unsubscribe. Most people did not unsubscribe. We had very few unsubscribes, which is awesome. But a lot of people just opened up the emails and did nothing. And I'm thinking like, that's such a waste of your time and your energy. And no wonder people get stressed out. No wonder people don't feel like they have enough time. No wonder they feel like they're just so busy because they're doing so much that doesn't benefit them. You know, even for me, like, did I really need to spend 8 hours doing all that research? I think so. I was fascinated by it. I learned a ton. I got great content for this video, and I learned a lot about all these different people. Like, it was a good use, but 8 hours is a long time to spend on that. So I'll admit I probably would have been better served if it was like a couple hours or something. But sometimes it takes a while to do all of that. And I guess to me, that's part of my commitment is I'm going to go follow through with something. I'm not going to half-ass it. I'm not going to give up on it. It's like if I'm going to spend some time on something, I'm going to go all the way through and see it all the way through. And I think all of this is just so, so important. And I don't want that to happen to you. I want to see all of you thrive. I want to see all of you commit to things that are really important. And if something isn't important, take it out of your life. Really. I mean, why? Like, we have such precious time. And sometimes I step back and think, I don't even feel like I'm living my life to the full potential because I have my own emotional things that get in my way. And yet I know that I do so much more than most people around me. They're held back in all of these different places in their life. And if you want to be held back, awesome. But I don't think most people want to be held back. Do you want to be held back? Really? Breaking through those emotional barriers, figuring out what you really want, giving your all and doing things that you really want to do, that you really love, and just stripping away that fear, overcoming those roadblocks and just doing it because we don't have time to waste, you know? So I think that's it for now, but thank you. Just realized this lamp has been flickering this whole time. I'm such a perfectionist when it comes to stuff like that. I didn't even notice. Oh well. I'm sure you didn't care or notice either, did you? If you did notice, let me know. And most of you probably have no idea what I'm talking about, but I have this one lamp that when I turn it on, see how it makes those lines across the screen? Better now, right? Okay. Well, I do definitely want to create some other videos. I have a few that came in as requests. I love getting your requests, but I also need to find a way to maybe like a form set up or something for you so that they're easier for me to find. Because if you write them in the comments, sometimes I forget about them. And I try to have a system, but it's hard. What's really great right now is when people email me. So I've got 2 email requests that I definitely want to do. And then the third, I forget what it was, but I was feeling really excited about it. It'll come to me later. It's past 5 a.m. right now. So I got to wrap things up and trying to go to bed before it starts getting light out. It's been my pattern lately, and it's just when I work best. Thank you so much for watching and listening to this kind of train of thought and following me along with this journey. And I hope that it felt rewarding when you got to the main point. I would love to hear from you, your comments. They are awesome. And I feel like they really benefit you because when you write something out, it really solidifies your thoughts and it holds you accountable. I read every single one of them, even if I don't reply. If I don't reply, it's probably just because I've got a lot going on and my brain is overflowing, but I care about you so much and I just so appreciate it. Thank you for watching. I will see you at the very latest on Sunday, but hopefully I'll get up at least one more video for you this week. Don't forget to check out the main Eco Vegan Gal channel and the What a Vegan Eats channel if you want to see daily videos, and the Eco Vegan Gal Venture channel if you want to learn more about business tips, and the podcast, all this different stuff happening. I love you. I'm producing as much as I can to help you all live your best lives, and I'll see you next time.